Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we're going to learn how to lock rows in Spring JPA, a super important topic when dealing with concurrent updates. Imagine two users trying to update the same record at the same time. Conflict. That's where row locking comes in to keep our data consistent and safe. So let's dive right in and see how we can handle concurrency properly using Spring JPA locking mechanisms. If you remember from our earlier videos, we already created an employee update method. It runs inside a transaction, where we first lock the row, then perform the update. In today's video, we're going to do exactly that. We'll implement a method called findByEmployeeID for update, which will fetch the employee data and at the same time lock that specific row so no one else can modify it until our transaction is complete. Alright, let's open up our employee JPA repository class. First, let's implement a custom method called findByEmployeeID for update, which will fetch the employee using their employee ID. Since this is a custom method and not one of the standard JPA naming conventions, we'll need to use the @query annotation here. Remember, whenever we want to run our own JPQL or SQL query, we can simply use a query and pass our query inside it. So let's do that. We'll write our custom JPQL or SQL inside a query to fetch the employee by ID. Alright, so our method is ready. It can fetch the employee data just fine. But it's not locking the row yet. To enable locking, Spring JPA provides a very handy annotation called @lock. It comes from the package org.springframework.data.jpa.repository. With this annotation, we can tell Spring what kind of lock we want, for example, pessimistic or optimistic, and it'll automatically apply that lock at the database level when our query runs. I've already explained about lock mode type in one of my previous videos, so if you're not familiar with it, make sure to check that out. Here, since we want the database to lock the row for update, we'll use lock mode type.pessimistic_right. Now this method not only fetches the employee record but also locks it in the database. Alright, just for testing purposes, I've added a small delay, a thread.sleep, 30,000, that's 30 seconds. Start the application. Okay, now let's hit the API with an employee ID. Now run an SQL query with for update on the same employee record. See that? The query just got stuck. It's not returning any result right now. That's because the row is currently locked by our running Spring JPA transaction. Now let's wait for 30 seconds. There it is. After 30 seconds, the query finally returned the result. That means our first transaction just finished, released the lock, and now the database allowed this second query to run. So this clearly proves our Spring JPA row locking is working perfectly using pessimistic_right. Alright, now if you look at the API response, you'll notice we got an error. That's expected, because we've only implemented the part that locks and fetches the employee record, but we haven't yet written the update logic. Now take a look at the console logs. You can actually see the SQL query being executed. Notice that for update at the end? That confirms Spring JPA automatically added the lock clause for us when we used it lock mode type .pessimistic_right. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Today we learned how to lock rows in Spring JPA to handle concurrency safely. In the next video, we're going to take this one step further and actually implement the update logic after locking the record, so we can see the full flow in action. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and press the bell icon so you don't miss the next upload. See you in the next one.